McLaren has finally given a name to its P15 track car project. Unveiled late last year, the new supercar will be called the McLaren Senna, and it's the most uncompromising release in ages from the Woking-based carmaker. The McLaren Senna is named after one of the racing team and Formula One's most legendary drivers. The smooth Brazilian drove for McLaren from 1988 to 1993, winning 3 championships before dying in a crash at Imola in 1994. So how much has McLaren paid to license the Senna name? Nothing. Kind of. McLaren has a good relationship with the Senna family, including Ayrton's nephew Bruno. There's no direct payment to Senna's heirs, but McLaren will make an undisclosed donation to the Senna Foundation charity for each of the 500 cars sold. The McLaren Senna replaces the P1 in some ways, but in other ways, it really doesn't. McLaren felt that the P1 was slightly compromised by its need to satisfy both road and track requirements, so it's being replaced by 2 cars. The very track-biased Senna and a 3-seat GT inspired by the legendary McLaren F1 and currently codenamed BP23. We'll see the 21 road-going hypercar later in 2018. Unlike many forthcoming high-performance cars, the McLaren Senna won't have any form of electrical assistance. There's no hybrid powertrain, just a derivative of McLaren's 4.0 twin-turbo V8 massage to produce 789 bhp and 590 pounds-feet, a nice round and symmetrical 800 PS and 800 Nm in new money. Power is down on the P1's 903 bhp, but this is a different sort of car. The P1 weighed 1395 kilograms dry and the Senna weighs just 1198 kilograms. To save you the trouble, that's a 647 bhp per ton power-to-weight ratio for the P1 and 659 bhp for the Senna. McLaren hasn't released performance figures yet, or much else in the way of technical detail. That'll come in the new year, but McLaren's Ultimate Series boss Andy Palmer assures us that although this car is road legal, that's not what it was designed for. Everything about the Senna was designed to help it tick off laps as quickly as possible. The carbon front wings, for example, weighed just 650 grams each, compared to 2.2 kilograms for the aluminium jobs on the 720S, and selecting race mode drops the ride height by 50 millimeters, helping increase downforce by 40%. We know it uses the latest incarnation of McLaren's hydraulic suspension system and that it features a new generation of carbon ceramic brakes that run much cooler and require less disc surface area, thus saving weight. We also know that it features active aero at the front and back this time. By moving the transmission radiators from beneath the headlights to where the luggage space would normally be, a space behind the seats for helmets is your lot, McLaren has created 2 channels for airflow, each featuring a motorized flap. At the back, the huge and stunning rear wing switches angle automatically to tailor the amount of downforce. It's an interesting design, featuring the mounting points on the top surface to keep the important lower surface as clean as possible. Exact figures for the amount of downforce this lot makes won't be revealed until early 2018. And finally, we know that the Senna will cost £750,000 plus local taxes, that McLaren is building 500 of them, and that they're all sold. If your name's not down, maybe you can grab one of the track-only GTR versions coming later. Palmer reckons there's another 50 to 80 kilograms to come off the Senna's curb weight by ditching road bits like the lights. Not massively dissimilar to a 720S, though that funky glass panel in the door skin certainly gives the view out a different feel. In order to make it work, McLaren had to bisect the upper section of door glass, which gives a nice visual nod to the McLaren F1. If you don't fancy other drivers being able to see your knees knocking when you creep back into the pits, having just sacred yourself silly with its performance, you can swap the lower glass for carbon. Predictably, there are acres of carbon everywhere inside, including on the gorgeous seats. One nice touch is that the R and D gear selector buttons move with the seat when you slide it fore and aft. Another is that the rear bulkhead is now integrated into the monocage carbon chassis structure, and that seems to have enabled McLaren's engineers to let the driver see far more of the engine than ever before when glancing in the rearview mirror, unless they go for the optional full-height bulkhead. To keep the dash uncluttered, there's a cluster of controls just above that mirror, including the door release levers, the start and race buttons, and even the electric window switches. Alpha 75, anyone